What's up, everybody? My name is Adam, and I'm the host of the You Know Adam Saying podcast, the show that is dedicated on bringing on passionate people, learning about their stories, and delivering value to entrepreneurs. So if that's what you're interested in, go ahead and follow, like, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to The Gap with your host, Adam Saying. Previously the host of the You Know Adam Saying podcast, but decided to go in a little bit of a different direction. Today, sitting across the way, I have Mr. Brett Rushing of Southern Insurance and Annuities.
That's right.
Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. I'm excited to see what we can get into and kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give kind of like some context, The Gap is really this business show, really kind of like speaking to small to medium-sized businesses out there and talking to them about various different things that they're going through, the challenges. I mean, this is definitely an interesting time, kind of like as we are moving forward. And but, you know, to start off, let's kind of, you know, do your intro. Like, tell me maybe a few words about yourself and the things that you've done.
Yeah, so I got a pretty interesting background, at least I would say so, in that I started off in aerospace engineering. So I was doing missiles and flight guidance systems for Lockheed Martin for seven-ish years.
Wow.
Was all over the country, in Florida and California. You know, my accent doesn't really do well out there. They kicked me out pretty quick. But I decided to move back to Georgia, and you know, 7 years in, my mom actually called me and asked if I wanted to join her family business that she'd started with insurance, like health and Medicare, life, and you know, surprisingly enough, I was all gung ho about it. I love talking to people. I love talking in general, and as a engineer, you don't talk.
How difficult was that transition? You know, maybe some listeners out there are kind of thinking about, you know, either joining a family business or doing something completely different, because as an engineer, what you do as an engineer and what you're doing right now is two very different things.
It's actually a lot better than I thought. Obviously, there's a huge learning curve going from one field to another field, but the way I like to think about it is like there's so many pros that you can bring from one field like engineering to, say, insurance. Like there's not a whole lot of insurance agents out there. At least I wouldn't think so. That came from like aerospace engineering to insurance, right?
Okay.
And there's and some of the things I specialized in was like efficiency, like trying to make things more efficient. How do I improve this process? And getting in, you know, we were kind of still living in the 18th century at Southern Insurance. We have pen, paper. I mean, it was
easy now. It's your mom's business now.
It is. But she's done amazing things. But I came in, and some of the first things I did was just like, you know, let's figure this out. How do we make this, you know, more amped to grow in the future by having, you know, offering that capacity for growth through efficiency, right? You know, making use of some of the new things, you know, with computer and AI and databases that we, you know, like I said, everything beforehand was like I said, just pen and paper. So we jumped into that, and I spent some time doing that, but it also helped me learn the ropes of the business itself, right? So it's not that hard, but it's just using your niche to figure out how to best handle the business, right? And it's really fun to do that, you know, instead of just looking at it from a different perspective than what might have been done before. So I really enjoyed it. It was a great move for me.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more, because, you know, insurance and annuities isn't exactly common vernacular for those that are not familiar with it. In fact, I would say that insurance is kind of scary at times. And then I had to kind of like ChatGPT what annuities was, right? And so for the audience, let's kind of like give us the breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, so insurance, like you said, it definitely can be scary looking at it from the outside, but what it is just like almost like a long-term protection. You're protecting yourself from the unknown, right? Like, you know, same thing for like car insurance or home insurance. You're not, you know, you're investing into protecting yourself by, say, you know, worst thing to happen, say if your house caught fire, you know, God forbid, or tree fell on it. We knew that from Helene last year. A lot of people suffered with that. But what it does is it protects you and kind of helps you, you know, that peace of mind. Like, okay, if that does happen, it's not coming all out of my pocket to kind of rebuild from, you know, ground zero, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with health insurance. And there's a ton of vernacular out there. There's a ton of acronyms, a ton of, you know, key components that looking on like coming from the outside. When I first started, I'm like, okay, what is this? How does this work? But that's what's really great. I think of what we do is that is supposed to be all alleviated by us. Someone can come to us, and it's at no cost to them, which is great. And a lot of people confuse that. They think they come in, they whip out the wallet. No, you just come in, enjoy yourself, and relax, and just know that it's not a charge to you, but we're able to come in and kind of explain all that intense, vernacular deductibles, so with co-pays, with max out of pocket, and break it down into a way that's much easier for someone to understand. At least that's our goal, right?
I think one of the kind of questions I have out there is, I guess, man, do you when you buy electronics, do you get the insurance?
Absolutely not.
so why not?
See, and that might be my own.
Is that the only thing that you don't get insurance for?
That's probably the case, because I guess my background, like I'll hand,
it's worth the risk.
Yeah, it's a risk and a reward situation. You're paying $100 for, TV. Say $300 for a TV. Are you paying an extra $50 for that? No, most people. In most respects, you're hoping that TV is going to give you 2, 3, 4 years, and you're not gonna. And if you do have an issue with it, you're just gonna have to throw out that extra $300. But in health insurance, say with an example of a TV. Say you're in it $500, $600 for a TV, and if it breaks, you're out $500, $600. Where, say, if you are in a car accident and you don't have insurance, you could be out hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you're in the hospital, you have ambulance rides, surgeries, medications, and if you don't have that insurance, we see people with hundreds and hundreds of $1,000 bills, and that falls on you at that point. So your risk with that really is it's just really insurmountable, right? Because that's when you're like forfeiting. You feel like the family home, like the family farm,
sure,
right? Because it's like, what do you do in that case? I don't know. If I was in that situation, I don't know what I would do.
Sure.
Say I had an accident, and then it falls on my wife to try to handle it.
Sure.
It's kind of a downhill slope. You're just treading water at that point.
That makes sense. So let's look at we kind of covered the insurance part.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about annuities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is that kind of like a big portion of what you guys do as well?
It's kind of like in our way. I wouldn't call it a big portion, because it's a really defined group that kind of it fits into. It's kind of like a CD is the best way to think about it, right?
So it's an investment.
It is. It's an investment. It's a growing investment. You have money that you're kind of sitting on. You can kind of put that into an account and help that grow over time. But you have typically a higher amount of cash has to go into that for it to be kind of alleviated. You have to have like a bottom line you have to hit. Where a CD you could put in $1,000 to $2,000 for 6 months, right? Or an annuity is typically for a longer term. So it's just another way to grow money that you have sitting aside, to the side. So it's an investment method.
It's a tool.
It is.
Got it.
It's an investment tool.
Got it.
I wouldn't call it a large portion of our business, but we do like to. And the best way to think about it, and I never want to box ourselves out of a certain field, And like the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Sure.
Right. So we're always trying to, if we have clients that want to do this, we want to be able to help them with that. So same thing with like life and dental and vision and long-term care. We offer all of it. I wouldn't say some of those other ones are our biggest deals, but when you have a client that really trusts you, you want to be able to offer them anything you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what our motto is. If we're able to help somebody in all aspects, even if it doesn't really benefit us, for some of these side things like dental and vision, that's not gonna hardly keep the light on for us at the office, but our clients really appreciate us sitting down and doing it with them. So
yeah, obviously this is a family business, and I am actually also in a family business, so I do have a common connection to that.
You do.
But I guess one of the questions I would have is, how is it going into a family business?
It's a great question. Obviously you're always gonna have pros and cons. It's 99.7%, random number. That's not a real number, but is positive, right? It's so good. You have kind of groundwork laid out for you. You have great relationships, obviously, with you. It's your family. But then at the same time, you have to figure out a way to kind of disconnect that family component in some respects, right? Because it's a business, and you have employees that are relying on you. And you typically with stuff, you might come with your family or your parents. Like y'all might butt heads on something. You can't do that in an office environment, right? You can.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go at home after the fact and hey, let's butt heads. But at the office, no. It's like, but the thing is, it's so good because you know that you can disagree on stuff and you're fine after the fact, right? Because it's family.
Mm-hmm.
Family's family. But having that groundwork laid, you have the common goal that that you're there for them and they're there for you, right? You are both. You're not like with sometimes you might think, okay, does this person really have my back? Say in a business aspect. But with family. Oh, with my mom, I know she does. I know your family. I know your family so well. Same exact thing. They're going to have your back no matter what. And that's what's really good about it. And that's what I love about it. And then feeling like we're both being successful by growing the business. We're like putting our minds together on stuff and having having the ability to make really key changes towards that growth. I love that because you don't have any control in the corporate business or corporate life like I used to have it. You're just kind of a cog in
a giant wheel.
A gigantic machine. You don't ever see that outcome. But I love having that kind of ability to make positive change. You see something negative one day and you meet up with your family and say, how do we make this changes for the better? And bada bing, next day it's you're strolling, right? So it's working. But I really do love it. My sister just joined my dad's firm too. So
really?
Yeah, she did. So it's like
congratulations to her.
I think she's loving it. She's just she's in law. So it's like the same thing. Everybody, and it's funny how the business works. I mean, we're all jumping into family business, and it's really eye opening because I've had people and friends say if they had that same kind of opportunity, say if they had, their family had created something, then they'd jump into it immediately, and it really really hit home because when I was a kid, I'm like, no, I want to do my own thing.
Sure.
Now I love this. This is you have something built and you can continue to grow that. She's understanding that. Her now husband, we're looking at bringing him into our insurance firm to help. It's just family all over the place, and it's great.
Does that ever, I think family it could be a very strong thing, right? But, too much of that, I think, oftentimes does kind of like create issues. So how does a family approach this successfully?
That's a good question. They, I think leaving like your feelings, like your family feelings at the door is a good idea. Like, if you're upset about something outside of work, don't bring it to the office. It's like, I know from me, say if I had a bad weekend or a bad week on something, I'm not going to try to bring that in because it doesn't need to be brought in. And that's, outside, you see it a lot. And that's something that's tough because you're used to bringing issues like outside of work to your family. I might be by myself on this, but if I have an issue, I'll call my mom and, hey, this happened. It stinks. What do you think? You can't do that at the office. You got to go in and kind of, smile through it. And so you do. But I really do think it's a great thing. I mean, obviously, like you said, there are cons. You can't, you could have, butt heads, and then you're typically with family. In my idea, or my mind at least, you kind of know that range of butt heads is a little bit further, so you can kind of push it a little farther.
Sure. You know how far you can take it.
Yeah, and you can't do that at the office. So it's like you gotta you gotta rein it. It's a mental game all the time. You gotta know this is be professional. This is a work environment. Don't let in. But like I said, the pros outweigh any cons 100-fold.
Yeah,
right?
and I think we spoke about this last time we met, but technology is moving faster and faster. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any industry out there that is not impacted by this AI thing that's going on. From top to bottom, and it's so fast. Just kind of like last year we were talking to, just ChatGPT, but now ChatGPT is actually providing value to us,
Yeah.
Have you seen that kind of happening in the insurance space?
Yeah, for sure. So one of our side, I wouldn't call it a side piece or a piece of the business, but we do a decent amount of group business as well. And we've seen an increase in like how fast these companies and carriers are able to come back and say, beforehand it's all manual. Like you get your potential client, you have to go in and get all your handwritten health questions and health questionnaires. Where now these carriers are like, oh, we're just using AI and they'll do it in like a matter of like 30 minutes or the AI is going in checking the health backgrounds, I guess through the internet, but they're doing it and they come back immediately and here's the pros and cons of this carrier or this client, and this is why we accept them as a client, this is why we don't, and it's just mind blowing how fast that is. And then you have, like you said again, with like ChatGPT, it's so you can sit on it and rely on it a lot for like just general questions. Like you come up with especially with our line of business, you have it's not like 4 or 5 different situations you come across. You have thousands and thousands and thousands of different kind of situations that clients come to face with, and a lot of times you've never even seen it before, and you have to kind of. Luckily, my mom has so much experience with all this. She's able to. Yeah, she has the knowledge of, ChatGPT times 2.
She is Chat.
I feel like she is, but. But using ChatGPT, they just kind of have like a general knowledge of, say, a situation. Like you asking it, what's the laws regarding this? And I know a lot of times you got to kind of double check it because sometimes you always want to be
show your sources.
Yes. So you want to make sure but it's such a quick source to figure out issues because like beforehand the client will call and they're like they're at the hospital and you have like I have this situation. You're like, let me delve into my research. Let me call everybody. Now you can kind of get an initial response. If you have a question, you can kind of go through that. If that does, and if it has a helpful idea or solution for you, it's great. It gives you like a really quick way to kind of respond to clients if there's something you haven't seen before. So like, it's a really good resource up front. But like I said, we always try to validate stuff because you never know.
Too much trust in it is not good.
That's not. You want to always like for us, we use it as like a a backup, like just to validate our ideas, and it's been great for that. And it quickens us a lot. It makes us a more efficient entity, right? Because people, we can help handle questions a lot faster. We can validate our answers a lot faster. It's been great.
Can you think of an industry that it's not going to impact?
Bowling.
Bowling? Why bowling? Are you a good bowler?
No, absolutely
not. What do you bowl?
I'm terrible. Sub 100. But
sub 100?
No, sub 100.
Okay.
So very bad. But it's it's but
love it.
We I think it's just going to affect everything. I mean, that's the other thing. Coming in like you said with our families and whatnot, who are part of the generation before us. Trying to lean on, tell them, explain to them, like, this is going to be something. It's going to be a big part of our of the business going into the future, right? And just learning to accept that. And my mom's done a great job with it. I think she's been able to accept it. But I know there are people out there that they don't like change, so like that's not going to be. And if you don't move with the changes or move with the world too, it's you're going to kind of just wither away, unfortunately. So being able to accept it and use it to the benefit of the business, I think, is important for us.
What is the thing that you're most excited about in the business? What's coming up that you're just like super stoked?
Well, the best way to think about a health insurance office in my mind is comparing it to like almost like, and it won't make sense at first, but it's like a CPA's office in that we have a very busy season. Being like the general open enrollment for health insurance and Medicare, and that's coming up actually starting October 15th for Medicare and November 1st for general health insurance, and that it is an extremely busy. We're all nose to the ground, like floor, just hitting it. But in some aspects that stinks because you're really. But I love it because I love putting my nose down, just working. And then the other thing is that we have so many changes coming this next year that really affect people, and I enjoy talking to people, and I'm looking forward to trying to help those people and bring people in. And,
what type of changes?
A bunch. So for the general health insurance, so during COVID, the government kind of gave out extra subsidy to help people, and it helped lower those premiums for health insurance. that's potentially coming to an end this coming year. So that means a lot of clients are probably going to see a substantial increase in that premium next year. We're hoping not, but we want to help those clients navigate it, because when you're generally thinking about it, say you have a 20-30% increase in anything else, you're just I don't need it then. That's too much. Well, the issue is that, again, it goes back to worst case scenario. What are you going to do? Your premium increases $40 and you let go of it, and then you have a $100,000 bill, right? So it's if you don't have insurance. So it's trying to weigh that risk again, and we want to help clients navigate these changes.
So the increase of insurance is going to go up.
Yes, the
By
premium.
how much?
They're estimating it's between 20 to 30% on some premiums.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, and for a lot of people, especially for high and low income earners, it can be substantial, right? Because you're really basing your finances on a certain amount. Like, okay, I know I'm going to be spending this much this month, but if that goes up, it makes it difficult, and that's why we want to. There's different ways to navigate it. There's different plans, different plan tiers that might be more affordable. Say someone was had a richer plan last year, but in my suggestion, you don't ever want to just drop it entirely, because that's another change that's happening. Last year and years prior, you had something called special enrollment periods that you could qualify for based on income, but that's being wiped out. So if for January 1 or January 1st, you say, you know what, I don't want insurance right now, I'll just get it later if I need it. Well, the government's wiping that out too. So say if you don't get it January 1, 2026, then you can't get it till January 1, 2027.
Got it.
No matter.
So there's no window.
There's no window unless you had a specific loss. Say you had group insurance and you dropped off of that.
Then you
could get it. But other than that, you're stuck. I don't care what happens, and that's terrible because it stinks for people, because they'll come in the middle of the year and say, I need insurance. And that's
sorry.
It's and that you hate doing it. You want to help everybody, but it's like you're kind of restricted. So it's like telling people that that changes, and trying to explain to them, like, this coming year, if you don't get it right now, you're probably not going to have it until 2027, and that's a long time. If thinking about it in layman terms, like, I need insurance now, but I can't get it till.
This change is it makes it hard for people, right? Because previously they get used to, there's a window coming up maybe in a couple months, I can kind of like hop onto that one.
Yeah.
But I don't actually hear. This is actually the first time that I've ever heard that this is kind of like what's happening in the industry.
Yeah. It's that's a big thing, and you have other stuff like for the general health insurance. Like, you have carriers, like big carriers, like Aetna, is completely leaving the general health insurance market.
Why?
Cost. I think they had a high level of claims last year, and they had some lawsuits out in other states. Like, I can't remember the state exactly, but Aetna owns CVS as well, right? And they had a lawsuit go out where you have two conflicting things. Like, you have you're owning a pharmacy and you're owning the insurance, so you both, that's kind of the conflicting interests, right? So they had a lawsuit in that state saying it's either or. You can either have the insurance or either have the CVS, and they closed all the CVSs in that state. So I think that they had to probably weigh those costs, weigh those the amount of claims they had, and they said, you know what, we're just taking out entirely for the health insurance. And so, like, my wife included, who has Aetna, we got to change her. We got to find something. And then you have thousands and thousands of clients on Aetna that don't use brokers or brokerage firms like us to help navigate that. They might not even know. They might just wait, then next year they come back and have no insurance. Right?
Okay, so let's. I have a question for that, but before we get there, so you have the insurance agency. The insurance company, and then in between the insurance company and the individual, you have the agency or the brokerage.
Correct.
And that is what you guys do.
Correct. So the best way to think about it is, we don't align with any carrier. There are carriers like Aetna, Anthem, United Healthcare, Cigna, Oscar, all over the state, right? And you have some, companies like, say, just for example, say you have a State Farm that does P&C insurance, property and casualty. They're going to sell you, State Farm insurance, where a brokerage firm like us shops the entire market.
Sure.
You come into our office, and I'm not going to tell you we can only look at Anthem. I'm gonna tell you, let's look at everything available.
Give you the best coverage
See
for
what
the lowest price.
That's exactly right. We're gonna shop everything, and you're using first our knowledge. We have our contacts with all these carriers. Say if you don't use a broker and you have an issue, you're going to use the customer service line for the carrier. And I don't know if everyone else has experience with customer service lines, but in anything,
Gotta love them.
Yeah,
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero for operator.
That's exactly, and that's not for. So you call, and in our case, again, like I said, it's no cost to you, but you come to us, and you have an issue. You go to the hospital, and your insurance isn't working right. You call us, and we're going to contact the big wigs at these carriers and be like, listen, John Doe is having this issue. Why is it happening? How do we figure it out? And we're going to get you fixed ASAP. And that's a huge benefit because otherwise, you don't have
anyone to call.
Yeah, you don't have anyone to rely on.
Yeah.
Right? Besides customer service, and that, like I said, 9 times out of 10, carriers are going to send you to another country to talk to somebody they don't know. It's terrible, and I that's why people need a broker to help guide them through those situations. And it's not just the guiding through the issues, but guiding through the initial decision of like, what plan do I pick? Because there's so many plans out there, and there's so many reasons why one plan might be more beneficial for one person, and another plan might be more beneficial for someone else. Like you see carriers that have a lot of ads. Like Anthem loves putting ads in social media and marketing. So their name is really well known, but it doesn't mean they're the best carrier for you this year. They might put a lot of money into their marketing, but they might not put a whole lot of money into their plan design. So you want to be able to look at everything that's available, and we do that for you. You come in, you sit down and relax a little bit, tell us your situation. We're going to look at everything, right?
So what is the difference there with insurance and then Medicare and Medicaid?
So Medicaid, that's kind of outside of Medicare. Medicaid is like extra assistance for some like the low income or the disabled and
elderly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's for the low income elderly. So your Medicare comes into play a lot with Medicare Advantage plans for those low income individuals. They'll get Medicaid through DFACS, like the local DFACS office, based on that. One of the benefits that we offer is that we have, and this won't be a lot of brokerages, but this for us, we've hired a bunch of old DFACS workers as employees, and they know the ins and outs of Medicaid, how DFACS, how to apply, how to get your stuff reinstated, and because working with Medicaid is tough. So we try to help our clients to figure that out as well. So if they're qualifying for that Medicaid status, we're going to sit there and help them do that. Then navigating the Medicare portion is that's one of our biggest strong suits, because we're not going to sell you, because there's so many different aspects. You have just plain Medicare, but then you have Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare supplements, and those are strictly two different things.
Why are they not roped in together?
Because it's really based on the carrier. So the carrier can offer an Advantage plan that's copay based, so you might not have a premium up front, which sounds really great because you're not paying anything up front for it. But every single medical event you have, going to see your primary care doctor, going to see your specialist, going to the hospital, is going to be driven by a copay, right? So that's what drives that cost up. And you're just kind of, you're banking on the fact initially, okay, I might not have costs, but I'm hoping I don't go to the doctor much because I'm going to save costs on the back end, right?
But wait a second. So my question was, you have healthcare, and then you have Medicare. Why are these? Is that a subset? Medicare is healthcare.
So Medicare is a type of health insurance. So
it's like a carrier.
Yes.
So similar to Anthem.
Correct. So Anthem has Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement plans.
That's confusing.
It is extremely confusing.
What do you mean? So they're both carriers.
Yeah.
But then within Anthem, they also have
subsets. You have Medicare Advantage plans with Anthem. You have Medicare supplement plans with Anthem. You have general health insurance with Anthem. You have group insurance with Anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you need an agency.
Yes, and the nuances of each aspect, like with a Medicare supplement, it's great in that you have a deductible you meet for that coverage, and after that, everything's 100% paid for, right? But you're stuck with a monthly premium on that, so you're paying up front. You don't have any copays, but you're paying that cost up front. But after that, it's like a peace of mind plan. After you reach that deductible for that year, you are good to go. You can go wherever you want to. You don't have any in and out of network places because it's whatever takes Medicare, a Medicare supplement. Where on an Advantage plan, you have to check. You have in network and out of network doctors. So you got to make sure your hospital's in network. You got to make sure your doctor's in network. So it's almost like playing a game of chance. Like it's just what fits your situation better. Do you want to pay that cost up front for Medicare supplement and peace of mind with it later, or you pay you more so like kind of watching your dollars a little bit and want to pay that, have no premium up front and just have those co-pays for your doctors on the back end. Each and every person's different. I mean, we have so many clients that do supplements, so many clients that do Advantage, because so many that do general health insurance. It's just all situations are different, and that's why it's so important to know everything, because it is, like I said, and like you said, it is confusing. It can be scary, but that's why we want to alleviate that fear, because you just come into us and we're going to explain everything.
You've been following the I think his name is Luigi Mangione.
Yes.
You've been following that?
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious?
Yeah, the comedian.
No. Luigi was the guy that was in New York City.
Oh, the guy that killed. Yes.
Have you been following that?
I haven't followed it after that, but you can see there's changes in the stocks and everything after that happened.
Sure.
For United Healthcare.
Well, any idea of why? Right, like, because I mean, you do work in an industry that's at least slightly closer.
I wouldn't say it's strictly because of that, but you're going to see changes with how these. So last year, United Healthcare had a really great looking Medicare Advantage plan. So you had a huge influx of individuals jumping on that Medicare Advantage plan, right? More so than I think they expected. And what happens is by doing that, you can bring on a lot of high claims clients, right? People that have
it's not balanced.
That's right. So you can essentially these carriers have to kind of plan and estimate. They have to have some really smart guys out there estimating what are we expecting for claims this year. And I think the issues last year, their plan was richer than some of these other plans, and they had a huge influx. And those claims went out of the roof. And then that's why you see stocks going down, because their claims were so high. Yes, so high. And they're just losing money right and left because they're paying out all these claims. Not that whole Luigi thing helped in any regards, but it's really based on the clients in these carriers and how how the things react and how things change.
So was he upset about something? Obviously, he was.
I think someone. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm guessing something didn't get paid for something, and
on his end.
I'm sure something. It's with insurance, and that's why the benefit of looking to us too. You see a lot of claims issues, like where a client will go to the hospital, and they'll come out and they'll have insurance to come out with a huge bill, and they're like, "What in the world?"
Yeah.
Well, you call us, and we'll go look at it. We'll call the hospital, and sometimes we'll figure out that something wasn't filed correctly.
Sure.
And that $1,000 claim or $2,000 claim is supposed to be a zero. That's our job too. We're gonna help you find those, and if something doesn't smell right, we're gonna go sniff it out and help you fix. Because it happens, and it 100% happens a lot that people get stuck, and they don't know that they need to look into it, and a claim doesn't make sense. They just pay it, and it goes unbeknownst, and they're out $2,000 when they could have been out nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So it's stuff like that, and that's why people need to lean on a broker. Like I said, you don't have to use us, but we just pray that everybody.
Come on now.
No,
you gotta tell them why should someone come to Southern Insurance and Annuities?
One, again, it's based on our knowledge. We have. Shannon, or my mom, has 20 plus years of knowledge in the healthcare industry. She was a consultant to hospitals back in the day. She was she worked on the director's board essentially of a hospital before that, and then she jumped into health insurance. So she has so much knowledge, and that's one thing. But it's also our culture. We're going to do what's right for a client. We have many clients. That they come in and they are, we heard about you and we want you as our agent. But the only way to do that is if you change a plan, say you change them to a plan under you instead, And we'll sit down and analyze, with those people, like, right now you're on a great plan and it's best fitting for you. And we tell them, we're not going to be your agent right now because you're right where you need to be at. We turn people away a lot saying, and that's because it's best for them.
Wow.
So it's our culture. We really care about our clients, and we try to make sure that's known.
Who would know that like you actually get more clients by turning them down?
That's what's amazing, because you turn, say essentially come back next year.
Yeah.
Well, they go tell, they go have a tea party with their family and tell everybody, Joe and Sally, hey, this happened, and they really like the fact that, they know that we care because we turn them away. We're not caring about that, that initial payday doesn't matter because we want them to be set long term, right? And by turning someone away or by doing what's right, they're going to tell their friends, and that's how we built our business, on purely based on like referrals and reputation. Our reputation means a lot to us, so we try to do what's right for everybody. Because you can make a quick dollar here, but if you mess up your reputation because you don't do what's right, then you're not going to be here in the long term, right?
The word that comes to mind is integrity.
That's a huge
right.
one.
I think being that offering that customer service, right, and making sure that you do what is best for the client's interest at heart. And I think we live in a capitalist kind of like society, and oftentimes that gets it gets lost definitely, right?
Yeah, and like I say, if you're going directly through a carrier, these carriers 100% only care about
the profit,
100%. And if any of the carriers are listening now, it's our best truth. Y'all only care. Y'all only care about.
Say it to them to their face. Like, look at them in the face and say, "Hey."
Yeah. Well, for us, we really try to steer that. We try to find, essentially, we want to take as much out of the carrier's pocket and put it in yours and keep it in yours, right?
Sure.
And that's just my and my mom's goal, and that's how we kind of see long-term stability and long-term growth and long-term feasibility for our business is by doing what's right, keeping that culture and that integrity. And we want people to understand it when they come in. They come in, they know, okay, they feel at peace coming in. They know, and when they leave, that we know we were treated right. We know that they did what's right for us, and they're going to come back next year. They're going to come back the year after. They're going to tell their friends to come back with their friends. We have people come in one year and they come back next year with 3 of their friends all in the same room to all do their health insurance, because it's just almost like exponential growth, because you do one thing that's right and it feeds the next and the next and the next and the next.
That's awesome. I think it's a solid business model. It takes time, right? Like it's a very slow growth, but the better that you can build out your reputation, I think the more impact that you'll have.
That's right.
Let's switch directions a little bit now. One of the things that I started the show with is the show's called The Gap, right? And the idea with The Gap is, in business, there's often these gaps that exist. Whether it is a marketing gap, maybe it's not connecting to the clients. Maybe it's a employee gap, right? Which kind of like does happen when you don't have the correct people in the room.
That's right.
But this idea of the gap, I wanted to kind of like ask you, what is kind of like some gaps that exist either in your industry right now or even for your business?
That's a great question. There's again, kind of going back, there's a knowledge gap between what's actually happening in the industry and for the client, what's their understanding of what's happening. If they're going into it without somebody, that gap is completely there. Gone. You have no idea what's happening. There's changes happening on the bottom or on the back end that really affect your bottom line, like how much you're paying for your drugs, how much you're paying for your plan, and without somebody there to help, that knowledge gap is insurmountable.
Yeah.
Right? Again, another thing for us specifically is like half of our clientele is the elderly with our Medicare, and communication with them, like say through if we try doing marketing or social media or anything like that. A lot of the elderly, they're going to read a book. They don't care about TikTok or Instagram or Facebook as much.
Sure.
So that there's a gap trying to reach them in ways that are outside of just face to face, right?
Yes.
So we try to give kind of tidbits and knowledge through social media or through emails and whatnot, just trying to keep people abreast of these changes. But we'll probably see a lot of people, seeing that on our ACA or general health insurance side, but there's a disconnect on the Medicare, and that's something to be expected, right? 'Cause
Sure.
you're not, as people age, they feel probably less connected,
Yep.
right, to technology, and it's that's a gap for sure. And trying to figure out how to navigate that, be it, we're trying different things.
What are you guys doing?
We're looking at potentially doing like meeting people in person, second, like renting a church and just having people come in and like ask questions before at these big seasons. Like, I think people will be more in tune with that rather than like email chains
Sure.
and whatnot. Trying to get, it's just honestly with that we call a lot. We have a lot of communication with phone calls. We call people 3 or 4 times trying to get them prepared just for the open enrollment season, and which I think is more than what most places are going to do. They're going to, if they don't reach you or if they don't see a need to, they're not going to call you. We try it time and time again just to reach you to make you aware of these changes coming, especially for our Medicare people, because they're going to best respond by hearing somebody over the phone saying, and especially if they recognize, like, hey, this is so-and-so from Brett and Shannon Rushing's office.
Sure.
Can we take some time to go over this?
So I got 2 things for you, all right? So one of the things is, I don't know if you know Michelle. She's a senior correspondent for Grice Connect.
Mm-hmm.
She covers specifically the seniors kind of
Okay.
like in the community. I think I will get you connected with her, and
Okay.
maybe there's something that you guys can kind of like work out, maybe some sort of event, which leads us to point 2. Which I think, there in the Statesboro community, I don't know if there's that much programming for seniors.
Yeah.
Right. Like our general kind of like, a direction is more towards kind of young working professionals. There's like a decent amount of college bars.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not really anything for kind of like the seniors to do. And so I think if you plan like a senior day,
Mm-hmm.
I think you would actually maybe have those seniors that are there already, but as long as you guys are there to kind of like, follow up and do the sponsorship, because I think that the reality is they're all thinking of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
maybe they don't know like specifically that, hey, like this is like something that is happening. But I think that would be a great opportunity too.
Yeah, 100%. And just being able to offer that, and like you said, there's not a whole lot being offered to the elderly population here, especially, people aren't taking the time to try to do that. It's almost like they put them out to the side, try to forget, which is terrible.
That is
You're not supposed to do that, and I think offering something like that would be extremely beneficial. Finding that time and place to do it, I think, is going to be the next step for us. We got to get my mom out of the office to communicate that, like to sit down and kind of express all the changes, because she's, like I said, she's the best in the industry in my mind for it, and I want to have her the one speaking on it. I'll be there for moral support, but having her there is super important. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that might be something fun that we could work on together.
Yeah.
Anything else you want the audience to know? Anything that you want to kind of like tell the people out there?
Yeah. Again, like I say, I've probably hit the nail 20 times right now, but if you haven't reached out to your broker, or if you don't have a broker, like I said, it doesn't have to be us, but please reach out to somebody, because the changes this year are crazy. There's a lot, and you're going to be, if you don't, you might be paying astronomically more for 2026. So just reach out to somebody. It could be us, it could be someone else, but talk to somebody.
No, come on, you gotta stop doing that.
It
needs to be.
Well, like I said, that's if you can recommend it, but
That's who I go with.
That's right. But yeah, just reach out to somebody. There's changes. There's changes coming, and we want to make sure you're,
Set up.
Yeah, you're set up for success. You're set up to pay the least amount that you can with the most benefit. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, Brett, it was a pleasure kind of like, hanging out, speaking with you.
Yeah.
I learned a lot today.
Good.
I kind of, there was certain questions that I always wanted to ask but never had the chance to. But thank you for kind of like bringing that spirit, to the Statesboro community. I think one of the major, things that I kind of like got from our conversation was just being very intentional about, hey, like, don't just sell them. right? Don't just sell people and, get them in and out the door. And you even heard that, right? Because like I'm pushing you to say, hey, like come like join the family, but you're like, hey, hold on just a second, right? You just at least ask, right? And that's the starting point. So I appreciate that greatly. It was a pleasure to have you on, and
it's a pleasure being here.
Yeah,
Adam.
man.
I really do appreciate it.
Man. Yeah, man. So that is the show, and that's a wrap.
Well, it's great to hear from y'all. Hopefully, see y'all soon for open enrollment.
Oh yeah, let's do the thing where we basically what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah. Honestly, giving our office a call. I have some. This has taken a couple years, but I've built up some really great staff. Just giving us a call at our office. It's 912-489-4335.
What about on the interwebs?
SouthIAA.com.
And social media?
All of them. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just you find Southern Insurance and Annuities. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to try to take the chance to help out. So
awesome. Well, that's a